the 5 worst solo items in Gloomhaven. And for those of you who don't know, there are solo scenarios that were created specifically for each class, where once you complete them, you get a reward, a solo item. I'll leave a link down in the description to the free PDF on Board Game Geek, or you can go to Cephalo Fair and buy the actual official version. And the reason I don't include solo items in my regular item power rankings is I think a lot of players have actually not played the solo scenarios and thus have not received the solo items. The criteria for this video is going to be mostly focused on how the item works for the class, but I think it's really important also to rank the item for how other classes can play it, because if you didn't know, you unlock these in campaign mode, which means you only get the solo reward once. And so once you get the solo item, you can sell it back, and if you do, it goes into the main supply. And you can also keep it, but once you retire, it goes back into the main supply. And that means that after that, any other person can go ahead and buy that item as per normal. So I think that's important to talk about. Okay, let's get started with number 5. At number 5, we have the Brute's Imposing Blade. And this item looks cool, but it's just really not that good. First, the Brute himself struggles with really doing a lot of killing. I mean, he doesn't have a lot of powerful, quick initiative attacks. And so to kill 1 or 2 monsters before the rest of the monsters go, and then have that shield be effective, it almost never happens. Lots of times you won't kill anyone in a round. Sometimes you'll kill 1. Very rarely you'll kill 2. But here's the thing. If you kill 2 monsters, you're probably in good shape anyways, and you probably don't need the shield. Like, even in 4-player, if you kill 2 monsters, usually your friends are going to be able to crowd control, stun, disarm the other monsters, or take their aggro or something. This is very rarely going to be useful, and that's why it's at number 5. At number 4, we have the Tinkerer's Focusing Ray. First off, healing is less effective than doing damage. Next, it's in a hand slot, which there's some good hand items, so there's a lot of opportunity cost to taking this. If this was a small item, it would be a lot better because, you can refresh, consume small items. You can rarely refresh a hand item. And then it does double the heal action, which is nice. But even take the bottom of Curative Aerosol. We're going to double this. It's going to be worth 8 heal. Compare that to the best healing potion at 7 healing. And the healing potion's a small item. And there's no opportunity cost because we have to play a bottom action to get Curative Aerosol heal in the first place. This is just not going to be worth it. You're probably going to want to sell this unless you've got a very healing focused Tinkerer and it's working for your group. I mean, there are certain cases where this can be good, but overall it's just not a good item. At number 3, we have the Doomstalker's Cloak of the Hunter. You get to muddle anytime you doom someone. Yay! I mean, it's just not going to be good enough. If I said to you, hey, would you like to have potentially a shield 1 here and there? Especially when you're a ranged class. I mean, it does help protect your friends from attacks. And sometimes, disadvantage can stop you from getting a ×2 or make sure that you get a miss instead of something else. But it doesn't really make sense. And there's a big time opportunity cost for this item too, because it's going to go in your chest slot, which is very valuable. You could have the Cloak of Pockets, you could have a Cloak of Invisibility, you could have other stuff that I don't want to spoil because I'm trying to keep the spoilers to a minimum. There's a lot of competition for the chest slot, and that's, what really pushes this from, mediocre to just plain terrible. And then if you do play the Jumping Doom build, which I don't recommend, I've got a Doomstalker guide out there too if you want to check that out, go look through my videos. But if you do play Jumping Doom, then you play way less Dooms. You may only play a handful of Dooms in a scenario, which pushes the value of this even lower. And that's why it's at number 3. I hope you're liking the video so far. If you are, please go ahead, hit that like button. It really helps me out a lot. And subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications. It's the little bell so that when I publish content, you're notified. And also, I work with Noble Knight Games. They have a crazy selection of games. They've got out of print stuff. They've got really obscure, rare stuff. They're out there, buying stuff off people and, carrying it so that when you're looking for something that's really rare, they've generally got it. I mean, they do have a limited supply, so, don't wait. Go ahead and check it out. I've got a link down in the description. If you buy anything through that link from them, I get paid a small commission, and I really need your help to support this channel and to help it grow. So if you're going and doing that, thank you so much, and let's get on to number 2. At number 2, we have the Mind Thief's Psychic Knife. And this only works when you're actually playing the augment, which is why it's so bad. I think a lot of people, if you're trying to do the most damage, you're playing the Mind's Weakness, and you're only really picking it up when it makes sense, when you need to add longevity. So if you want, you can leave the Mind's Weakness out for an entire scenario and never have to replay it. But at certain points in time, you may want to pick it up again to give yourself some extra turns of longevity. So pick it up when you've got an odd number of cards in your hand, and that's going to give you another turn. Now, there is opportunity cost to that. You've got to replay it, thereby reducing your effectiveness. But I think mostly people aren't playing augments that much in a scenario, so this is only worth a handful of damage, and that's why it's so bad. I mean, sometimes I play the Mind's Weakness as the first play of the scenario, and there's not even really a target for me to go and hit with it, and so, sometimes you're not going to get any damage out of it. That's why it's so bad. That's why it's at number 2. At number 1, we have the Sawbones' Doctor's Coat. This thing is just terrible overall. I mean, if you're really focused on med packs, which you shouldn't be when you're playing Sawbones, I've got a guide. I've got guides for all these classes if you want. Go ahead and check them out. Anyways, you shouldn't be giving out a ridiculous amount of med packs. It only adds 1 to it. Sometimes that's going to be wasted when you don't need 5 heal. And lots of times people are playing these cards for the extra longevity because you can use them as you can use the med packs as a basic move too, or a basic attack. And then, this doesn't work at all for other classes. If you don't have Sawbones around, then you're not going to get any benefit. Also, it takes the chest spot, and there's good competition for the chest spot. I mean, if this was like a satchel and it was a small item or something, it would be close to being usable, but probably still not usable. And I think, and I don't want to spoil my other video here. I've got another video where I've got the most powerful solo items, but I think those items, even though some of them only apply to the class, they're drastically more powerful. So this one is weak, and it only works when you have Sawbones around, and that's why it's the number 1 worst item. Like, it's 25 gold. That's what it is. You sell it back, you get 25 gold. Yeehaw, continue on with life. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Have a great day.